Cool. Yeah, look, that looks so cool. Welcome back, everybody. We're at the Muscle Blueprint. I'm here. I'm Matt Mastro, here with my buddy Mike Cruz. Mike Cruz, also known as Coach Cruz. We went to college together. We played baseball together. We've done probably a million different things together, from different business ideas to different sports that we've played.
True.
Literally, we've lived life together in a million different aspects in the last 6 or 7 years, however long we've known each other.
Well, yeah. I mean, I met you 2013, the fall.
That's crazy.
2013. It's been that long, 7 years ago now since I've met you.
That's insane.
Damn. But yeah, thanks for having me on. I love doing this. This is fun. It's always fun.
We weren't really boys the first few years that we met. I feel like we knew each other.
No, it took a year because we lived together the year after.
Yeah, we respected each other because you worked out and I worked out.
Yeah,
that was it.
I remember. I do remember the first time I met you. It was at 34 West. It was at your house, at you guys' house that day. And it was a party or whatever. I remember coming over and I remember going to you because I heard about you. And I was like, hey, man, what's up? I'm Mike. I'm on the team. Nice to meet you, man. I think we're getting along, man. I heard you like working out, so I do too. So hopefully,
I probably sized you up and was like, who the fuck
you 100. You were pretty drunk that night. But
that'll happen.
You did. I mean, who doesn't size people up? But, I mean, then the next year we lived together, and then the rest is history.
There you go.
We've been friends ever since. So, 6-7 years.
I said best friend. You said friends. It's fucked up.
Oh, shut up, dude. But yeah, I mean, those were some fun times back in Oni, bro. I mean, back in college, it's playing ball, just the whole 9 yards. I do miss ball. I do miss playing, but, I'm kind of, not that I'm happy it's done, but I'm almost just like, in the sense where I'm finally at peace with my career being over after all these years.
Well, what's cool, how was it for you making the transition from, because you went from literally the best baseball year that I've ever witnessed.
Yeah.
Literally his senior year, this kid could not make an out. So you went from your best year ever, the best year I've ever witnessed, the hottest anyone's ever been hitting-wise, defensive-wise, to becoming a coach. And what's that transition like? Is it tough to become the outside person looking in?
So yes and no. So obviously being at basically the height of your game and having to leave is very tough. But early on in my collegiate career, around my sophomore year, when I was at before I came to Oni, I was at a JUCO. That I remember this before I decided to go to Oni. I was like, I'm not going to go pro. I'm just trying to enjoy the last playing years of my college career, and I want to make sure I get a good education, all that. So I've kind of accepted the fact that it was going to end eventually. Mm-hmm. But you never really feel like it is until it does. But having that kind of in my mind for the few years before that kind of helped it out a little bit. And I always knew I wanted to coach, and I started coaching around 2013, just like travel ball stuff, but then I really started to get more into it because I just love the sport, wanted to be around the sport. That kind of allowed it to be just a lot easier of a transition, especially since I started right after my playing career. Literally the year after I started coaching college ball at the same school. So it definitely made the transition of not playing anymore easier. It wasn't hard at all because a lot of my personality, a lot of my identity, a lot of who I thought I was based around this athlete, being this baseball athlete, because it's all I did. It's all I cared about for the most part. I love my family, I love my friends, I love all that, but at the end of the day, baseball was always number one, even before school. I went to college. I was a great student, but I went to college for baseball. I didn't go to college to be a student. I went to college to play ball. Mm-hmm. So
that's true.
It's still taking me to this day. It's still taking me a lot of time to kind of really understand who I am as a person outside of being the baseball player.
Right.
And honestly, that's like a big thing for athletes across the board who get so invested in their sport. It's like, who are you outside the sport?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I kind of I love coaching, and I coach to this day, and it's not like I'm never going to stop doing that. But I got into it because I love the sport so much, and I felt like as an athlete that just kind of was the path you need to take afterwards. But no, I do love doing it. That's my career, and that's definitely something I'm going to continue to do.
For sure.
So it's still a part of me, but learning who you are outside the sport itself is definitely something like all athletes from a young age need to kind of discover about themselves, because at the end of the day, you know, you can be around the sport forever, but your playing career is going to end at some point.
Yeah, that's true.
Regardless, I don't care how good you are. Derek Jeter had to freaking retire, you know?
True.
So you have to figure out kind of who you are beforehand. So, I mean, during and afterwards, we're still young. We're still figuring it out. But at least understanding that, at least my sophomore year in college, putting it in my mind that I knew this was coming to an end sooner rather than later made it a lot easier to be like, all right, no big deal.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the same thing where like you know that the end is coming eventually, and it doesn't matter where it comes. It doesn't matter if you're a professional, you play 20 years of a career. It doesn't matter if you end in college, high school. There's people talking about their glory days from their high school days, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's hard when your career ends like that. Like I know mine ended pretty abruptly like that as well, because I was playing baseball as well. And same idea, where it's like, you know what, you move on to new things. You find new ventures, things that you actually can put into the world, which I feel like you've gotten the opportunity to do that, and you found like a niche with coaching.
And I mean, through sports, I found fitness, obviously, because I wanted to be in shape for baseball. But I did fall in love with bodybuilding first, I feel like. So I got into fitness because of sports, and I just wanted to perform better. And my older brothers played sports, so they were working out and shit.
Right.
But when I started kind of like diving into it, it was more like, holy shit, like look at these fucking jacked guys on, you know, Muscle and Fitness magazine, and like where I see on TV, I'm like, that's kind of cool. So, and then back then, like in the early 2000s, when I was like 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, that's really kind of what you saw. And then like all the athletes that you saw like on like the muscle magazines were stupid jacked anyway. So I kind of really fell in love with bodybuilding first. So when I started working out, I started working out like in the gym, like in 7th, 8th grade in middle school. And when I started working out, that was what it was. It was bodybuilder type splits. And when you're so young, as long as you have somewhat of decent form, it's tough when you're that young, you're so uncoordinated. But you're going to make just tremendous strides. And fortunately, in, what year was that? 8th, 9th grade, I believe YouTube came out. It was 2006. So in 2006, I entered high school. And YouTube came out. So I was able to watch a bunch of fitness videos and kind of learn form for workouts through there. And that was kind of sparked my interest in fitness, and from there just kind of kept it, and didn't really honestly realize I wanted to be a personal trainer and a strength coach until college, honestly. And that's kind of how I'm at where I'm at today, is because of those experiences I had when I was younger.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel like part of that also is from what I've seen from college experience, from just in general, even with professionals, that you don't see them. I don't see professionals with my own two eyes, but you see these people that have ridiculous amounts of potential. Like their skill levels are just, they're God-given. You get things that were given to you that are unparalleled, things that you could never potentially reach yourself necessarily without the hard work. But without that persistence, without that hard work, because I know you're somebody that literally, like, I don't know what you consider your skill level before your hard work, but I know you worked to be a good player. I know that you weren't just somebody that, like, rolled out of bed and became the best player on earth. I know you were a grinder, not like the app, but like grinder, like you worked your ass off. And it kills me when you see kids these days, or people that just have all this potential and they're not unleashing it the way that they could have. You know what I mean? Like, as a coach, is that hard for you? That's probably something that you see a lot of, because I know your work ethic was through the roof. So watching somebody that doesn't equal that? Somebody that doesn't even come close to it. Does that like eat away at you? Is that something that bothers you? I feel like that's got to be everywhere.
So, to answer that question, in the start of my career, 100%. In the start of my coaching career, it pissed me off. Like, almost like, how dare you? You know what I mean? If I was 6'4" and had your genetics, oh my God. But as I've gotten through years of coaching now, I've kind of eased back on that mindset. Kids or people, they're gonna do what they're designed to do. You know, everyone kind of has their own way of going about life, and sometimes it may not seem like they care, or may not seem like they're working hard, but that's just kind of how they go about things outwardly, but inwardly they're actually really grinding. So it's all about learning the individual. But in a generic sense, it's not that I get mad at I kind of seeing that anymore. It's almost like, all right, how I kind of try to look at it as a challenge almost. It's like, all right, they clearly don't have the level or sense of urgency that someone like I had, like that someone like myself when I was younger, because I needed to squeeze every ounce of work ethic that I needed to become or to play at the level I wanted to play at. They don't need to do that because they've had the talent, they have the genetics, whatever the case may be. It's almost like, all right, how as a coach can I communicate to this kid, this athlete, this individual to kind of not trick them into working hard, but to kind of get them to understand that, you know, they're this age for a certain amount of time, they have this skill set to elicit for a certain amount of time, and just to kind of make the most of it while you're here with it, because or else why you're doing it in the first place. So it's almost just kind of putting the onus back on them, where it's like, hey, look, you live the life the way you want to live it, but if you're going to do this, you might as well do it the right way. So that way, when it's all said and done, which it's going to be, you can look back and be like, yeah, that was fun. I worked hard, and, you know, I made great memories from it. And some 5, 10, 15 years down the road, you don't look back and go, maybe I should have worked a little bit harder, and I kind of regret not doing that. So it's kind of switching the narrative, switching the mindset or perception on those kids, because I don't necessarily think they're lazy. I just think the urgency isn't there. So like, let's go extreme. So levels of urgency or senses of urgency. Someone who was born in Cuba, right, who lived under the regime in Cuba under Fidel Castro, who, you know, they didn't, went back when that was going on between the U.S. and Cuba. It was like, all right, you can't go to the United States to play baseball. You can only stay here. Those people who lived poor in those countries in the Caribbean go, all right, I have no other option other than to be as good as I fucking possibly can at the sport, and then like defect from their country.
Yeah.
And that, so like, that's like the extreme sense of urgency right there.
That's who you're competing against. Like, you got to think those.
But that's fucking reality.
Against. Yeah.
So, and let's not even go to that extreme. Let's go to Puerto Rico, where my family's from. It's like, there's extremely poor people there that all they have is baseball. And the only way they're going to survive is if they make it to the show. Mm-hmm. That's a level of urgency a lot of kids in the United States don't have.
Oh, hell no.
Don't have. They don't. And not to say that that's the wrong thing. I think that's great that in this country, for the most part, you have the opportunity to go different avenues other than just sport, if that's the case. But understand that if you want to make it in a sport like baseball, you're competing against a kid who has nothing else to lose, and this is all he has.
Right, they're hungry,
they're
legitimate. They're literally hungry,
yes.
But also.
So that's the level of urgency you need to match in order to compete at the same level those kids are competing at. And talent's only going to take you so far. When that mindset matches that intensity and that urgency, that's a dangerous thing. And that's where you're starting to see a lot of the shift in Major League Baseball go is to they're dumping money into internationally, because they know that that's what those kids are trying to do. They see the amount of money that's being made in sports in America. That's the urgency you need to match. So, you know, when I get a kid that has talent, that has good genetics, that, you know, has a good head on their shoulders, but just doesn't have that urgency, it's like, all right, we need to find a way to get them to work hard so they could just at least maybe they won't maximize their potential, but at least they reach a point where they can look back and be like, I made almost the most of my career there, and it was a good time, and whatever. At the end of the day, it's their career. It's not mine. I'm not trying to live vicariously through them. But to just kind of shift perspectives on them I feel like is the best way to go about it. And it's up to them. If they choose not to, if they say, you know what, fuck you, Coach Cruz.
I'm sure it doesn't happen too
It doesn't happen. But like, I'm sure a lot of kids, you know how fucking some kids are. They'll be like, yes, coach. And then in the back of their mind, they're like, nah, fuck you. I'm going to do what I want anyway.
I got to do what makes me happy. And then certain things just don't make people happy.
I just don't. Fun. I'm going to be honest. I don't get offended by it anymore. When I started coaching, 100%.
So that's a lesson, I feel like. Because they do say, like, some of the greatest players of all time are not the greatest coaches. They've said it about, guys like Wayne Gretzky, let's say, which I can't knock his coaching career because I don't know it that well. But they do say things like, like some people just don't understand when people don't have the skills or don't have the mindset and the abilities, which it's got to be tough. I can understand that being tough. But then you also get the opposite end of the spectrum, which I feel like this is something that I can almost point a finger at myself, where guys are working extremely hard, but don't have the correct direction or don't really do the right things in order to put themselves in a better position. I think you might get that even now and then with your multi-sport athletes, football, baseball combined, where, in one place you're getting tested on how much you can bench press, and then the next place you're getting tested on how good your mobility is. And if you're not training properly, if you're not doing everything, every now and then you might get caught in the wrong spot where you're too tight for a certain thing, you're too big for a certain thing, you're not training for what it is that your goals are necessarily.
Yeah.
I feel like that's another thing that happens a lot based on guys like myself, where I liked bodybuilding and physique so much. I liked aesthetics, which is something I've prided myself on, is trying to build an aesthetic physique, that training for baseball to me seemed silly. I'd read a baseball program and I'm going to do a rotator cuff exercise. Like, no one's ever asked me to flex my rotator cuff before. Like, what's the point of that? Like, I would skip certain things that just didn't matter to me.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's also like the opposite end of the spectrum too, where people are training
100%.
silly, or they're doing something that just doesn't make sense. 1 rep maxes of everything, which aren't necessarily bad, but when you're doing it as your primary everything, when that's all that matters to you, then suddenly it's not going to be the most.
Yeah, so I do actually I've coached a lot of kids like that, where they are the opposite of the kid we just spoke about, where they're go 100% of the time. They'll do things extra because this is their personality. It's basically I've tried. It's basically impossible to get those kids to be like, hey, you just need to calm it back a little bit. You're not going to get them to calm down. They're going to keep doing what they're doing. So it's just kind of, again, shifting mindset in certain areas with that. So you just brought up the point where, why the hell am I going to do rotator cuff stuff? I don't have to flex or whatever, because you'd rather, try to push it on squat. But
you mean biceps?
Or biceps, right? Yeah. But the way you can kind of finagle that in, it's like, look, listen, if you work on external and internal rotation at your shoulder, work on that mobility, you're going to put yourself in a better position where you can roll your shoulders back more, and you're more stable in this position where you can hold the bar, and that's going to actually increase your 1 rep max or your 3 rep max on your squat, and that's going to lead into more gains. So when you communicate things that way, they tend to think about it. Maybe they don't do it right away, but then they go, you know what? They do it one time and it helps out a little bit, and that's all you need. So all you need is that one little drill or that one thing to kind of switch that mindset, and then it goes a long way. So I'm never going to tell that type of person, hey, don't do what you're doing because you need to do this. No, it's like, hey, here are some things that I think are going to tremendously help you in this route. Take it the way you want to take it. Use what you think will work best for you. But I promise you that if you find a way to incorporate these things, it's going to help you here. So that, and it's just, again, it all comes down to trying to flip their thinking and as to why they should start doing things. Because you're never going to change someone completely.
No.
You're not, and nor you shouldn't. Again, so like when I started strength training and strength coaching, I was very matter of fact. Now it's what I've realized with the more kids I've worked with is you really just got to be malleable. You really just got to be patient, and you kind of got to meet them in the middle, but you still got to be the top dog where it's like, all right, but you still got to do what I'm telling you to do. Mm-hmm. But you got to meet them in the middle of something. Because like when it comes to like programming for, let's say, pitchers or whatever, yeah, I'm gonna throw in some bicep curls, some chest press here and there. I got to give it to them a little bit, I can find ways to train those things elsewhere in programming, but you got to make it fun too. So it all comes down to that. I mean, I try not to take myself too seriously. I just take them seriously, their training seriously, and at the end of the day, again, like I said before, it's not my career. I'm not living vicariously for them. I don't care, right? I played my career. I'm done. I'm retired, washed up. It is what it is. My goal, my job now is to just try to help them as best they can. And if they want to take it, they want to take it. If not, it is what it is. That's kind of my mindset when it comes to that, but I'll be there for you if you want help. And that's just kind of my philosophy with that.
So then what do you do when somebody's completely unmotivated? I'm sure you've had these people. Like, I feel like even clients that I've had that will say, like, I want this, I want that, I want abs, I want my arms to be shredded, I want my shoulders to pop out and be nice and cupped, I want the best ass anyone's ever seen in the world. I have 30 minutes a week to put into making these goals happen. Help. Like, some people are just so unmotivated.
So,
no matter what age, this is kids, this is adults, friends, family, heard it all.
Yeah, I mean, those people are the hardest to work with.
Man.
They have all this stuff, and it's like, and some trainers are better with those people than I am, because I'm just very upfront. Like, look, that's impossible.
You're realistic. You have to be realistic. I swear to God, I feel like all the damn time.
I can't do that for you. You can try to find someone else to do that for you, but what I can do is develop a plan that may get you to do these things as long as you're consistent with things. But then again, like when you first start with someone, you have no idea what their life is like. Mm-hmm. So that's true. Creating a program for that is like, you don't know. I feel like you need to go through the process with your clients, especially if you're online training, which is happening now because of COVID, more so than in the past. It's like you need to really develop I don't want to say friendship, because you got to keep it professional, you got to keep it business-like, but definitely a certain level of relationship with the client that you understand their lifestyle, you understand, kind of their stressors and whatnot, so you can manipulate things here and there in the programming that can get them to their goals. Not only the quickest that they can achieve them, but just the healthiest that they can achieve them. Mm-hmm. With the person,
that's a huge difference.
Yeah, with the person you just described, though, they're not necessarily looking for the healthiest, so to speak. They just want to either look a certain way in the quickest way possible. And
how can I have results without any effort?
Steroids.
Minimal.
Well, not even, because you still need to put an effort. But with the guys like that, it's like, I need to be stupid jacked and 3% body fat in 30 days for my Miami bachelor party trip, and it's like, all right, well, go on steroids. And then just work your ass off and eat a shit ton of protein, and you'll do decent.
Not even though.
Yeah. But that's my point. Like, if you can't cheat it. You still got to do it the right way. And I think we just need to take a step back with that and just kind of, everyone needs to take a chill. Yeah. Take a chill pill and understand that.
And it's another same idea where, like, there's two ends of that spectrum, where you have that completely unmotivated person that wants results in 30 minutes, which, yeah, it kills me to see people's programs that are made for 15-minute abs, 15 minutes best body of your life. And, like, I get it. Like, I know who you're marketing to. And and anything is better than nothing. I'll never say, hey, oh, you did 15 minutes of cardio today? Good for you. Like, you did something good. better than nothing. Better than sitting on your ass eating Cheetos and drinking beer, which even though we're currently sitting here and drinking White Claws and whiskey, but hey,
You're drinking the White Claws.
first off,
Let the record show.
it's on camera.
Let
There's
the
two
record
cameras.
show.
This is an audio. Depending
He's
where
drinking
you're
the White
listening to
Claws.
this.
I
some
got
of
the
you-
whiskey. We're all right.
I had whiskey.
Strength coach has the whiskey.
What am I? Enough said. Anyway,
The muscle dude, he got the White Claws.
yeah, it's healthier, guys. We'll get into an episode about alcohol one of these days.
Well, we'll dive into that for sure.
Listen,
I'll defend whiskey to the life.
So, saying
what were
those
we talking about?
15-minute programs, 20 whatever, anything's better than nothing. But I've also like the opposite end of what we were just saying. There are diets, there's workout programs, there are such intense things that are so drastic to your body that people are applying themselves to with no prior knowledge or with no like background on what they're doing, which I don't want to call out any singular thing necessarily, but you see things like going vegan or going keto or doing workout programs that you were working out 1 day a week and now you're working out 7 days a week, or you go into CrossFit without knowledge of how your body is going to react to certain movements, or even bodybuilding. Like, you can't just start
No, you
bodybuilding.
can't.
As much as I like bodybuilding, you can't just jump into bench press, squat, deadlift,
No
and
shot.
think you're going to be great. Some things are so drastic, and you might see results quickly if you're lucky and don't get injured, but also the longevity of those things just they're not going to be there. There's no way that you can maintain doing something drastic because your body is just going to malfunction, essentially. Like, your body's adapting to things and then it's going to malfunction in certain aspects without the prior knowledge. You probably see that all the time too with these people that want results. They get their results and then they're right back to where they
Yeah,
started.
and the way, like, isn't it just a lot easier to never have to yo-yo like that? Isn't it a lot easier to just live your life relatively moderately healthy, where it's like you're active for the most part, you work out 2, 3, 4 times a week, and then you indulge, every other day or every so often with, a meal here that you may extend over calories, ice cream here, a beer here and there. Isn't that just a lot more relaxed than like you just go off the wagon for 2 months and then all of a sudden you're 15 pounds overweight and it's like, oh God, I gotta lose all this again before I go away with the girls, for a weekend. And then it's like you're running every single day, you're drinking nothing but water and eating spinach for like 2 weeks straight, basically killing yourself to lose weight. You may lose a couple pounds, you may lose 5, 7, 10 pounds there, and then all of a sudden you take all your Instagram photos that first day on vacation because once you booze up and eat up that day, you're gonna bloat back up anyway.
Yeah, what's funny with that too though is honestly, I would guarantee, I'm placing a bet here.
Okay.
That if 10 people, let's say 10 men and women that went on that crazy running and diet like that, you would end up being pissed off about the way you looked. You'd probably look at yourself and be like, holy shit, I look terrible, I look flat, I look dry, I look like nothing. Because you're deteriorating yourself in all aspects. Like you
just don't feel good.
You
It
don't
sucks.
feel good, which is the worst feeling in the world. If you don't feel good, you're not going to look good. But also appearance-wise, like you might think you're doing yourself good. Oh, okay, I stepped on the scale and I lost 10 pounds, but
I hate the scale.
I look at myself and I look like a piece of shit. And it's like, how come? Well, maybe because you didn't eat food, and food is a way to live. Like maybe because you didn't drink enough water. Maybe because you have 0 carbs in your body and your body's never done that before.
Exactly.
You're like,
And it's
surprise, here, no macronutrients for 2 weeks.
You
Why?
don't need to go on these crazy binges and purges of just restriction and non-restriction and
Purges.
cheat meal.
For
Whatever.
real, you're right.
Yeah, like you don't need to do that. The 80-20 rule is so important. I like to call it the 75-25 rule because I go a little bit more often than normal people.
White Claws.
Because I love my whiskey. I love my ice cream.
Sure.
I love my wings on football Sunday. So the 75-25, it's the 80-20 rule though. But look, as long as you, for the most part, are active, you find a way to work out a few times a week, full body, and you generally put the right things in your body food wise for the most part, you can space out the indulgences throughout the week, throughout the month, and you'll be fine. You don't and you don't have to have a cheat day. You don't have to have these days or weeks of restrictions. You can just kind of live okay. And I feel like that's where we need to get to, because this yo-yo craziness is just not healthy, not only physically but mentally too. It's insane. Mm-hmm. And I was in that trap when I was young, but as I've gotten older and as I've learned and as I've trained a bunch of people and as I've gotten to this point, it's like, no, you want to be, and balance is such a awful word, because like it's, everyone uses it. You want to find balance. I wish there was a better word for it, but I feel like it's balance, but it's almost like, all right, just find what works for you, and that's just trial and error. Everything's trial and error. You're never gonna find out what kind of is the best format for you to follow until you start doing shit. And if you're someone who's never really worked out or is scared to work out because of all the stuff you see, and if you're scared to go in a gym because of COVID, which is understandable, start by just walking every day. When you wake up, get out of your bed and just walk down the block and back up 10 minutes. Start your day doing that. That'll add 1,000 steps to your day that you never had before, and watch what that can bleed into. And then you want to start where you're at. Mm-hmm. So you got to just find out where you're at.
I like that quote. Start where you're at.
Start where you're at.
I like that.
You're not going to be someone who hasn't worked out in 4 months and is going to pick up and go, you know what? I'm going to buy Matt Mastro's whatever program you have out right now, your million of programs you have out, your aesthetics sculpting program, and go, I'm gonna look like that in a month. That's just not gonna happen.
No,
you're gonna do 2 days and be like, holy shit, man, this is intense.
That's
stuff.
a very good point, especially in the social media influencer world where workouts are intense, man. A lot of these are tough workouts. Like even the at-home ones that don't involve like weights, the body weight stuff.
Some of the stuff
tiring,
I see, I'm like, damn, I can't even do that shit.
Yeah, like like shout out to like another local Long Island chick here, but like if you want to look like Jen Selter, let's say, because I think she's got some popularity out here, and you can't just up and like, I've never worked out before, but today I'm gonna do her workout. Like that's hard. That's hard, man.
Hard.
Like don't do that.
Start where you're at.
Do 1 or 2 of her exercises. Maybe don't do 10 of them that she did for the day. Here's her daily workout. Pick 1 or 2 that you can do that make sense to you, that aren't going to hurt you, that don't feel like, holy shit, I'm going to fall apart if I do this in another rep. I'm like that whole feeling sore, feeling tired, feeling exhausted. Like I get it. Like after your workout, you want to feel like you did something, but you shouldn't feel like you can't do anything the next day, or like you need to lay down and go to bed. Like that's not a good feeling. That means you defeated yourself, and that's not good.
Yeah, and I can go on forever about that topic too. But yeah, it can be something as simple as, all right, every day that I wake up, I'm gonna get off my bed and I'm gonna stretch for 3 minutes. Stretch my hamstrings, stretch my chest, stretch my arms out, do a couple twists, and then hop in the shower, and then do that before bed. Like something as simple as that. And you do that, and that's the only thing you do for a couple days, a weeks, maybe even a month. Watch how that type of routine can spark into something even more.
Oh, absolutely.
Because now you're doing that and you go, all right, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. Cool. Let me go for that walk. You start going for that walk. All right, cool. Let me do a couple push-ups. Let me park a little bit further from the grocery store so I can get a little extra steps in. Let me use the stairs instead of elevator. And then you just watch how these things start to snowball into something better. And that's why you should never take the mindset of all or nothing. Is find ways to implement these things into your daily life as routinely as possible, and watch what happens over the course of time. But you have to be patient.
Huge point.
Have to be patient, and that's the toughest thing.
Yeah, I feel like I've even found myself in that scenario where it's the all or nothing mentality. Where, all right, like I overslept half an hour today. I go to the gym in the morning. I only have 30 minutes that I could work out today instead of my usual hour. Let's say, maybe I'll just take the day off today instead. But that's okay to do 30 minutes. It's okay to do something instead of nothing. Exactly. It's okay to take baby steps into your fitness journey. If you're a beginner, it's okay to do something short. You don't need to be in the gym for an hour and a half like some people are. You don't need to be there for an hour. You could go for 15 minutes. You might just find something. And as soon as you show up, this is a huge thing that I talked about on, I think, one of my previous podcasts. Wake up the way that you said. You have a daily routine, let's say. Get dressed and go. And just figure it out from there. Like, literally, all you need to do is take the first step. Like you said, you start walking and things snowball. Okay, now I'm doing push-ups, now I'm doing this, that, and the other. If you're a gym person or anything, if you're a sports person, you're going to train for your sport. If you're whatever it is that you do, even for work, you get dressed and just show up. And once you show up, you're going to start. You're not going to miss it. You're not going to show up and be like, shit, I'm here now. Like, I'm going to go home. No. Like, that is a big piece of advice that honestly, that's when I give my father a lot. And my dad, big workout guy too. He likes to go down to the gym, do his thing. What makes him motivated when he's not motivated, I've told him, I'm like, when you're not feeling like yourself, just go there. Just show up and watch what happens. And you might get there and be like, fuck, I'm here. Now what? But, like, you'll figure it out. And you'll get on, let's say you just get on the treadmill for the day, which I'm not a huge fan of the treadmill anyway. But let's say you get on a treadmill and you do a 15-minute walk. You just did 15 minutes more of anything. And then you're probably going to, like you said, snowball into doing more. Yes. All you need to do is show up and start your day or do whatever time you have to do your routine. It'll snowball. It'll become something so much bigger. Just show the fuck up.
Facts.
Get dressed. I think, honestly, like, as corny as that sounds, if I'm not feeling good, if I feel like shit about the day or like I had a bad night's sleep, I don't want to work out today, whatever it is, I'll try to put on my best gym outfit. I'll throw on a tank top that day, let's say. Like, normally it's like, all right, I like to wear t-shirts. I usually cover up in the gym for whatever reason. Just my way. I like to wear sweatshirts. That day, I'm like, all right, tank top's on. I got my muscles showing. I have, like, my physique showing. I feel like, all right, I got to show out now. Like, here I am. Like, I feel like I need to prove to myself that I look this way for a reason. I worked hard for a reason. I want to look a certain way for a reason. I'm here now. Time to go. I put on my best outfit. If you're a female, throw those leggings on. Throw those leggings that you like. Throw them on. All right, I'm showing up today. I got shit to do. Throw that tank top on that you just bought from Lululemon. It's like, oh, man, this is really nice. Let me show up and show out. Gymshark, same shit. Stuff is nice. Like, go ahead, Muscle Blueprint. Yeah.
I mean, that's the perks of being a coach. I just get free merch, so I don't have to spend a fortune on gym attire.
But you know what looks good. You know when you feel good. And there's days you're probably at the gym and you're
yeah.
You know, you're taking up a little more mirror space than usual.
There's certain outfits you throw on when you go on a lift and you go, all right, this is the outfit. You know, that's confidence. That's true. Just show up and like feel good. It's the whole, like, what's that? Ricky Henderson, feel good, look good, play good. Like, the same idea. You just show up and so much will get accomplished. And that's for anyone. That's for college kids that don't want to go to the gym at 6 a.m. in the morning. That's for these single moms that don't have the time, but then they find the time. They're 30 minutes. Show up, put those leggings on, go. Do your workout. Even if it's at home. Go to that spot, the spot that you have designated that's like, this is where I do my workouts. Here's where I roll out my yoga mat and do my yoga or my band work. Whatever it is that you do. Like, that's my best piece of advice, I think. The best piece of advice I've ever gotten was to just show up. Yeah, and showing up looks different. It can look anything. Like, I remember what I used to do as a middle school kid. If I always wanted to go to the gym, but when I couldn't, me and my brother would, while watching our favorite show, let's say, every 5 minutes we will do push-ups. So, like,
that's dope.
The show starts at 5 p.m. All right, so on the 0-0, we do 15 push-ups. Then we rest. And then when it hits 5:05, we'll do another 15. When it hits 5:10, we do another 15. And then before you know it, you watch a half an hour of a show and you did a shit ton of push-ups. And
Good job avoiding the math on that.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Was I not going to say a number there? I was not doing the number there. I had no idea. It could be anything.
A plethora of push-ups.
My math was a shit ton. That's what I calculated in my head.
Pretty much anything over 10.
I'm gonna avoid it. I'm gonna avoid it. It's bad. It's bad, guys. It's bad. But anyway, I swear I have a master's degree. I'm not stupid.
I know you can do math on paper like anybody. I'm just saying.
No, but again, that's a way to show up. If you don't have time, you can do stuff like that. It doesn't even have to be push-ups. It can be sitting in a 90-90 while for a few minutes during a show. It can be anything. It can be just stretching. It's, like stretching your hamstrings for it. It doesn't matter. It can be anything. Just find ways to fit it in, and you'll be fine. I have no idea how we got on this topic. How did this happen?
I don't know. We bounced all over the place. We actually just decided. We almost freestyled this podcast today. We I got an idea. Let's talk about coaching. And we just went from there.
Yeah, true.
We have no notes written. Usually there's I don't know. When I podcast, I usually have 3 or 4 topics. I'm like, all right, topic 1 covered, topic 2 covered. Right now we're just like, hey, we hang out. We have a good time. We're going to be able to talk about some shit for a long time. And we have a good time doing it.
Yeah,
Here we are.
This is fun stuff. I'm glad you had me on here. I plan on coming back every now and then.
Yeah, man. So
it's a far trip, but
when it comes to Coach Cruz, not just my buddy Mike, but Coach Cruz, super smart dude, knows a lot about the body, physical movement, abilities to move your body in certain ways to be athletic and strong and make sure that you have both the aesthetics and athletics. It's really just a very smart individual when it comes to anything fitness-wise. I bounce all my ideas off of him as well. And we debate certain topics. We agree with a lot of things. We also bump heads a lot of times with certain things. And it's awesome to have people like that in your life that you agree with and disagree with, but then you come to conclusions that, sometimes they're not the same. Sometimes we have different ways of thinking about things. So I would keep an eye on this guy because he's definitely going to do some stuff, whether it comes to podcasting, websites, different things that he's building with his platforms, and definitely will be on the podcast a lot more as well. And also on the community and being able to communicate with our Blueprint family as well, which is going to be awesome.
Excited for that.
Yeah, man, I'm lucky, honestly, to have an extremely smart friend that actually cares a shit ton about people and about fitness and combining the two into not a competition, but a community, which is something that I think is awesome.
My competition day is over, like I said.
Yeah, but it's funny, though, because I feel like with fitness, everything is competition. Who has the best body, who stands on stage and looks the best, which is fine. Like, the sport part of it's cool.
If you're competing, that's different.
Right. The sport is cool.
Yeah.
I like that. But I think that, everything, even social media is who has the best this, the best that, the worst this. She looks like shit. He looks good. And it's damn, man. How about we just bring everyone together for once? And it's cool. We have a community here. We have people that are just really happy to discuss their goals and discuss how they're reaching their goals. And we have some smart people talking about it as well. Some people that are just really just great with their knowledge and spreading it to others. And that's something we're blessed to have that.
Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that.
That's my guy.
Yeah. So if you guys want, you can find me on Instagram, Coach M. Cruz, because Coach Cruz was taken, unfortunately, so I had to go with the M initial in there, so at Coach M. Cruz there. That's where I'm most active, and then from there you can find me on, I have the link tree, you can find me on a bunch of other stuff from there. No reason to list all of those, but yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, I post a lot of stuff that we talked about today, but just a lot of workout stuff, and just different information that I come across every day, and a lot of memes that I find very funny, and try to just keep light of of a situation of a year that kind of has affected us all in certain ways. So hopefully, as we near the end of 2020, we can enter 2021 a lot better than the way this year started and kind of continued. And I'm an optimistic person. I believe that all of this is going to get better sooner rather than later. And finally, at whenever it happens, when we're finally back up and running to the society that we know we can be, we're going to be a lot more happier for it. Because I think, at least for me, I mean, this year has put a lot into perspective. And once we get through this pandemic and through the circumstance, I think as a society we'll be so much better for it.
Yeah. No, I agree. I don't even want to speak off of that because I feel like you just covered that perfectly.
Right, man. Thanks for having me on, bro. This was fucking fun.
That's my guy right there.
Yeah, bro.
My dude. So, we'll be seeing Mike a lot more. Muscle Blueprint here. Matt Mastro. You guys are awesome. Thank you for listening. And feel free to, wherever you're listening to this, whether you're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Google Play, TikTok, God only knows. You guys can be anywhere in the world right now. But we appreciate that you're here with us. So thank you for listening. Like this, subscribe to this, give us a 5-star rating, whatever it is that you want to do. We appreciate it. Everything helps. So thank you again, guys. Muscle Blueprint, we out.